All right, we will go in 3, 2, 1. Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Inside Panther Football with head coach Scott Neathery. We're coming off of a big win last week, a challenge on the road tonight, and we'll talk about it after this for Everett Buick GMC. 3, 2, 1. Back here on Inside Panther Football with head coach Scott Neathery, a very happy head coach Scott Neathery after being basically undefeated with a tie at the beginning of the season, and I know that that's a pretty good place to be right now.
Yeah, it is. It's a real good place to be. We just got to, make sure we keep getting better, Grant. But yeah, from where we've come, we're gonna enjoy it. That's for sure.
I know that Hall last week was a game we knew we should win. It was also a game that, as you point out each and every week, we can't take any game for granted. They had something to prove trying to break a 31-game losing streak, but we held them to no points. I know you've got to be proud of the defense on that one, 49-0 the final score.
Yeah, right. We, anytime we can shut somebody out, we're happy about it. And our defense has done a great job all year long, and couldn't be more proud of our defense.
Well, when Jim Gardner gave the player of the game out, it's kind of like the people that call into my scoreboard show sometimes. We ask them who their player of the game is, and they say, well, we're going to give it to the offense tonight. And I'm like, you could be a little more selective than that, but Jim gave it to the entire defense, and because we could not narrow it down to one person who really stood out on that side of the football. It was a real team effort.
Yeah, but that's what you got to do, And our front 7, front 8, I'm gonna tell you they're pretty tough. I don't know any other front 8 that's going to be as good as what they are in our conference. And man, they like it. They like to hit. They're coachable, and they know all their assignments. And seems like we just keep getting better on defense. So hopefully that trend will continue.
Tell us a little bit about on offense who really stood out for you last week.
Well, the one thing I told the offensive guy, the whole team, I said, hey, defense kind of hogged the touchdowns last week, right? So, but, a lot of people are doing well, and that's the way I want it. If we scored 5 touchdowns offensively, and it was 5 different players scored. That's what you want. I don't want just one guy scoring, and so a defense can single in on one guy. So we got several guys that are scoring, and I've said it before and I'll say it again. Out of our 5 skill guys that we can get the ball to, I don't mind. I don't care who we get the ball to. I just want to move the ball, and all of them are capable. All of them are good players, and I just feel real fortunate to be in that situation this year.
We talk about that game against Hall. There's not a whole lot to say other than that we had a great crowd. It was a great homecoming, and homecoming it wasn't a distraction to your players. I know that's got to be a relief.
Right, and I'm gonna say this is, you've come a long ways as a program, and you're well on the way to changing a culture. When we started, we'd look at games like this, say, all right, we got a chance to win this game. Now we look at this game, we come out expecting to win, and as a coach, I'm worried we're not going to win it in the fashion I want to win it in. So we're fortunate to win it in that fashion, and just feel very fortunate right now to be in the situation that we're in. But we got to make sure that we just keep getting better, keep working, keep fighting, and because each game from here gets tougher each game we go.
A year ago, we weren't in this situation, obviously. We were, you were in a situation to where you were really having to pick up some wins to save the season. And it was a year ago next week that we went down and kind of had that monumental win over Texarkana. When you look 365 days later, what's the feeling like in practice? And describe how much better it is, when you're a winning culture versus when you're struggling.
Yeah, I mean, it's when you're struggling, it's just always I don't want to say it's not panic. It's you're always looking for something, always trying to get better, always, there's a little bit of uncertainty, Right now our guys, we pretty much know, that if we lose a game, it's got a lot more to do with us than it does the other team. And that's really a good feeling. But that's the thing. As a head coach now, my challenge is a little different this year. It's challenge them to get ready for practice and to not take practice lightly, and let's get better and let's continue to get better, and don't look ahead. Let's take care of the team that we have this week, because right now we got to make sure that the wheels don't fall off, and we just got to continue to get better. I sound like a broken record saying that, but that's what my message is to the kids.
Speaking of the team tonight, we've got the Sheridan Yellowjackets, and we'll talk about that game when we come back. You're watching Inside Panther Football on Saline247.com. All right, we will go in 3, 2, 1. Back on Inside Panther Football with head coach Scott Neathery. Tonight we take on the Sheridan Yellowjackets. You've been there before?
Yeah, we were there. And that's one thing I told the kids. I said, hey, Sheridan, they get up for Benton, and they want to beat Benton. And I know because I was there for 1 year. And then Coach White was there for 3 years as the head coach. And I even said something to Coach White about it. I said, Coach, did you ever lose to Benton when you were at Sheridan? He said, only one time in a JV game. That's it. We never lost a Friday night game to Benton when Coach White was the head coach there. So we're real familiar. And we know that they're going to get geeked up for Benton. I mean, this is their Super Bowl. They feel like if they can beat Benton, it kind of, helps their season out a little bit. So we know we're going to get their best effort.
So y'all have got 4 years of head coaching experience at Sheridan on your staff.
Right. That's exactly right. And, I got Coach McClellan. He got his start at Sheridan. Coach Gentry was at Sheridan with us. So, we've got a lot of Sheridan ties, that's for sure.
Your play-by-play announcer once dated the homecoming queen at Sheridan, so it's all around. You go down there in Yellow Jacket football under Coach Campbell. Lewis Campbell is a big name in football, not just in high school, but he's a guy that was at Ole Miss, Arkansas, coached under Houston Nutt, and then came home, and he's got a lot. He brings a lot of experience to those kids.
Right, he sure does, and I think he does a good job. And but high school football is different from college football, and at the end of the day, you got to have the athletes. You can lose with athletes, but you can't win without them. And I know he's struggling, got an uphill battle there, but I know he does a good job. He's a nice guy, and I really like Lewis a bunch in my dealings with him.
Well, talk about what it's going to take. Brazel Financial Services, of course, sponsor of our Keys to Victory, and we'll talk about those here in a few minutes. But, overall, what does Sheridan bring to the table that scares you?
Well, they've changed their offense this year, and they're running, flex bone stuff, double wing stuff, triple option stuff. So, defensively, we've just been able to go and blow and attack the offense. This week we're still going to have some change ups and we're still going to stunt and that type of stuff, but when we do, we need to make sure that we know our responsibilities, because if we miss one assignment or don't go through the right gap, then they could take it to the house at any time. And that's the deal with the triple option. If you run it well, it's hard to stop, and it's hard to simulate it in practice because we don't run that, and that's one thing that you've got to be dedicated to do, and they've done it. And we've seen on film that when you don't take care of your responsibility, then they can take it to the house. So that's the one thing we've really focused on this week.
You were talking a little bit earlier about how the crowd gets geeked up for Benton, and they really they get geeked up for a lot of things. But you drive into Sheridan and that 3,472 population sign, it's a little bit deceiving because, they're a much bigger program than they look like on paper.
Right, and because they get a lot of kids from East End. I know it's 30 minutes away, but they get a lot of kids from there, and that district's huge, and they've got a lot of kids playing. I think they got about 60 on the roster, and and they're a program that if you don't go in and ready to play, then they'll beat you.
All right, we will talk about our keys to victory and some of the other things going on tonight in Panther football when we come back. You're watching Inside Panther Football on Saline247.com.
Perfect timing.
Welcome back to Inside Panther Football with head coach Scott Neathery. A couple of things before we get to our Braswell Financial Services keys to victory. I know tonight we're not necessarily encouraging everybody to dress up in their maroon and gray because it is the pink out night for the Susan G. Komen Foundation. And I know as you, somebody who's gone through similar struggles, that's something that's very important to our program.
Yeah, and actually this is the one game that I let my kids wear some pink if they want to wear it, So yeah, we're going to let our kids do that, and it's a good cause, and we'll be there wearing a pink.
Can you rock some pink?
I'm probably not going to rock pink. I'm gonna wear what I wear, and I'm a lot more focused on the ball game than that, to be honest with you.
We can understand that coming from a head coach. I just didn't know if you ever sported the pink at any time, maybe like during the week or something.
No, I don't. I don't. And hey, I think it's a good cause, and I've had my battle with leukemia. And actually, it was the year that I was at Sheridan that I battled that with leukemia. But I've never wanted to be the poster child for that or anything. And, we never even mention it or talk about it.
Let's talk about our keys to victory, because that's a much happier subject than that. Braswell Financial Services, of course, our sponsor to the keys to victory. And 3 things we got to do to beat Sheridan tonight. What are they?
We got to score more points, Grant.
Obviously, yes. We do have to put more points on the scoreboard.
At the end of the game, we got to have more points than them to win. That's 1 point. No, again, I sound like a broken record. I always say this, and I talk to the kids about this. We want to start fast, okay? With a team like Sheridan, again, you keep them in the ball game, and their confidence is going to rise. I feel like we've lost twice to them. I think my second and third year, and we lost to them because we let them stay in the ball game, and then their confidence rose. Then we kind of got down a little bit, and we let them beat us, and I didn't feel like they should have. So it can happen on any given night. So we got to make sure that we start fast and leave no doubt in their minds who the best football team is. Leave no doubt in our mind, or leave no doubt in Sheridan's mind who the best football team is. We got to make sure that we defensively that we know our responsibilities and that we know our assignments. And again, when we stunt, when we go, we got to know what our assignment is, whether it's the fullback, quarterback, or the pitch, or whatever it's got to be. We've got to do that. Our corners can't start looking in the backfield trying to get it on tackles, because they're going to have to take care of those receivers, because as soon as we start cheating, then they're going to pull it and they're going to throw it long. Got to do that. And then the third one, just got to make sure we execute the game plan and play hard and finish the ball game.
Ned Permy keeps telling us we're going to have to come home in Noah's Ark tonight. How do you adjust for that, and especially kind of on the road and on a different field? Well,
we've already got our footballs all bagged up and everything. We'll take plenty of footballs, and I got 24 footballs, and we bag them up for each quarter with towels and that type stuff. So we'll break out a new bag of balls each quarter, and I really don't worry about it just too much, because I know that we're prepared for it. And if it does rain, we're on a turf field; it's not mud or anything like that. So
not like the old days, right?
Right. And as long as the officials will be good about getting the balls in and out, we're usually fine. Wet balls for us, we can throw and catch wet balls. But I think it'll affect Sheridan more than us, because they're running triple option, and they've put the ball on the ground a good bit, and that happens when you're running the triple. So if the ball gets a little wet, that may be more times that the ball's on the ground tonight for them running the triple.
All right. Well, Scott, good luck. We will see you tonight, 7 o'clock kickoff. We will have the pregame show, the Thomas Insurance pregame show, beginning at 6:45 right here on Saline247.com. And let's go beat some Yellowjackets.
Sounds good. Thanks.
All right. We'll see you next week on Inside Panther Football.